Welcome in. It is Brad with College SportsCast. Kentucky volleyball is headed to Kansas City to the Final Four and more. Let's go.
Thank you for tuning in to College SportsCast. College SportsCast presents Wildcat Weekly.
That's right, guys. You heard me. Kentucky volleyball punched their ticket in Lexington on Saturday to make the Final Four in volleyball. They're headed to Kansas City. We will get to that in just 1 second. Got a few things here to talk about. If you are on Facebook with us, we appreciate you. We are growing like crazy. We are trying to continue to grow and stretch and get maybe 8,000 by the end of the month. That would be fantastic. But here's what you can do. Help support us, 99 cents a month. That's all it is. And you get your own subscribers page and your own subscribers chat. And we are in there every day, it seems like. So help do that. If you're on YouTube, we appreciate you as well. Hit that subscribe, like, tell us, comment, do all kinds of stuff, man, with us on Facebook and YouTube, and also on the Real Fresh channel. All right. John Boy is with me here. What's up, John?
What's up, man? How's it going?
We've had a big weekend with Kentucky sports. Behind us here, guys, is the championship volleyball team. They won their region this weekend, and we are here to celebrate a Final Four here for Kentucky volleyball. It is just their second ever Final Four. The only other time they've been, guys, was 2020, and they won it all. So this is only the second time they've been one and won one. So let's see if we can get them there again this time, John. Wouldn't that be something?
Yeah, it would. You know, what's crazy to me is you had number one Nebraska go down. You had Texas go down, and now you got Wisconsin, Pitt, Kentucky, and Texas A&M playing for the chance for a winning national championship. And what's crazy to me is Kentucky might be the overall favorite now.
They are. They're going to be one of them more than likely here. But let's talk about this regional finals here, the Sweet 16 and finals. I mean, Kentucky went through this region in dominant fashion, sweeping both Cal Poly and Creighton. And Creighton was ranked number 11 in the AP poll. Like, Creighton has a really rich history in volleyball, and have had a really good team for a long time. They were one of only two teams, Kentucky being the other one, that had taken 2 sets against Nebraska all year long. And Kentucky dominated in the regional finals in Memorial.
They did. You know, Brooklyn DeLay, Eva Hudson. Brooklyn DeLay was named most outstanding regional player in Lexington. She had a really good regional. Brad, this team is special. I've said it all year. They're one of the top teams in the country. I felt like that they was probably the second favorite when it came into things, like with Nebraska. I felt like Nebraska was the heavy favorite and Kentucky was probably coming in second. And then when you look at the rest of the, group, Texas was in there. You had Pitt. Now it's probably Pitt after Kentucky now. So we could see a Kentucky-Pitt rematch in the championship from early in the year where Pitt beat Kentucky. So there's a lot of things at play here, and it just shows how good Craig Skinner has built this program. For me, Brad, he's one of the top coaches in America. When he just knows how to win.
He absolutely is. These girls, man, they are so athletic. It is so fun to watch. If you have not watched NCAA women's volleyball, man, you are missing out. And I'm going to tell you just how much. I'm going to try to explain to you just how much you're missing out. Okay, the athleticism with these girls. A lot of the best outside hitters, John, are hitting at a 11-foot radius. Their kill radius is 11 feet off the ground. That's where they're hitting the ball at. And just to put that into perspective, if you can hit a ball at 11 feet, you can dunk a basketball. And these are women we're talking about here, John. Like, they are so athletic. It is unreal. And I got to give, man, Kentucky's defense in this region against Cal Poly and Creighton, man, Molly Tuzzo and Cassie O'Brien and, so many of them are diving all over the floor. Pancakes. If you don't know what a pancake is, you need to follow volleyball, man. They're getting pancakes all over the place. I mean, it is unreal what this team is doing.
Yeah, and I tell you, the team that they're getting to play, they just went after Texas. I think they went on a 7-2 run to take the lead. I think Texas tied it one time after that, but they never had the lead again. Collier played really well. They got a girl named Carter Booth that is really good. Grace Egan had 9 kills. This is a much different Wisconsin team than they was early in the year, where they had a 3-set loss to Texas back in August. So this is a completely different Wisconsin team. Kentucky's going to have to play their game, do their thing, but I expect Kentucky to be ready to play. This is a really well-rounded Kentucky team that is playing as good as anybody, Brad.
I mean, with that said, John, I will jump to the matchups for the Final Four. You've already mentioned them a few times, but, there's 4 teams remaining. And you've already mentioned it, but man, what an upset by Texas A&M, beating the undefeated 33-0 Nebraska squad at home. And I'm going to tell you, John, Nebraska hadn't lost at home since 22. Like, they don't lose at home. Nebraska was by far the best-looking team. They had won 48 straight sets, okay? And, now, John, Kentucky has the longest win streak. They're on a 26-game win streak, match win streak. And, you got A&M upset Nebraska, and then you had Wisconsin upset Texas. Again, on Texas home floor. And earlier this year, Kentucky swept them, and that was the first time they had lost on their home floor in like 2 years. So both of these schools are big volleyball schools and lost. So again, John, now the matchups are Pitt and A&M and Wisconsin and Kentucky, 1 versus 3 on both sides.
Yeah, I'm gonna come back out and come back in. It's lagging a little bit tonight, me and you both. So
okay.
I'm gonna come back out and come back in and see what it does.
Okay, man. So these girls, man, they've got a real shot here. I'm super proud of this team. They have so many pieces that is working really well. Got to give a shout out to Lizzie Carr. She has played so well in the region against Cal Poly. She led the team in kills, had 5 blocks. I think she had 4 or 5 against Creighton as well. In that middle, she's 6'6". It's Andrew Carr's sister. She is something else. I mean, Asia Thigpen, Kennedy Washington. So many. Brooke Baltima. I mean, there's so many that I could mention. Trinity Ward, when she's coming in and serving in her serving spot, is doing really well for this team. They just have so many pieces. And like John said, they might now be the favorite. It's going to be them or Pitt. There's 2 1 seeds remaining. And these matchups, it's not often in volleyball that you see upsets like we saw on Sunday and yesterday with A&M and Wisconsin upsetting the 1 seeds. In volleyball, a lot of times it goes chalk for most of the, all the way to the Final Four. Most of the time, it's not very often you see these upsets. The parity in all sports is really coming along, and A&M's going to be a tough out for Pitt. Babcock's really going to have to play well. She did not play all that well against Purdue. She did struggle just a little bit against Purdue. Babcock did. She is one of the finalists for the Player of the Year. I do want to give a shout out to Eva Hudson. She has been named today a Player of the Year candidate. Wisconsin has one on their team as well. So, Eva Hudson does have a shot at the Player of the Year here in the Final Four. I do believe that Kentucky and Pitt will probably be the favorites to get to the finals match here. And these games will be played on Thursday night. Kentucky plays, I believe, at 9 o'clock Eastern time after they play the second game. So it'll depend on how fast the first game ends up. But I believe it's 9 o'clock Eastern time. It might be 9 o'clock Central. I can't remember. I'll have to look at it again.
And their send-off is tomorrow at 5 o'clock. So if anybody wants to go greet them off at the airport, it's at 5 o'clock tomorrow.
Yeah, so go to the airport, send them off, send them on their way. Let's go get a chip, man, like for real. Let's bring home the trophy. And I didn't mean to click that. I meant to click that one. All right, one more quick topic on this, John. Craig Skinner and these young women, man, just talk about the job. Craig Skinner's in his 21st year. And I'm going to say something here, and a lot of people is going to probably think I'm crazy. But Craig Skinner's probably the best coach in the fold at Kentucky.
Not out of the realm of possibility. What he's done with this roster, some of the transfers, you had Eva Hudson, you had Brooklyn DeLay, she's just a junior. Cassie O'Brien, a freshman, Asia Thigpen.
Barowitz and Carr were transfers.
We actually had Asia Thigpen on the show earlier this season. She was talking about her connectivity with Hudson and that group. And I'm going to be honest with you, Brad, I felt like Asia Thigpen played as good as anybody in those regionals.
She had a really good game against Creighton. She had 8 kills and had a really, really good. She had a couple of blocks. She really played well on the outside, spelling a little bit there on the right side that she plays. And she done really well. Lizzie Carr in the middle has been playing lights out. And like I said, Kennedy Washington played some really good games in the regional games here. And, just it's going to be so fun. I cannot wait for Thursday night to watch against Wisconsin. Wisconsin has been coming on, playing strong. You don't win at Texas like that, it's not a fluke. Kentucky's going to have to come to play. And, we'll see what happens. But congratulations to all of these girls, the entire team, and Coach Skinner and his staff for the job that they do with these girls.
Yeah. He's built he's built a unique team that fits every single piece, and he puts them in a certain angle. There's just every girl has a job to do, and every girl gets that job done, and it's just amazing to watch.
At the best that you could get it done. I mean, and he's so good at just strategizing and teaching and scheduling and just, I mean, throwing his green card for reviews. He wins almost all of those. I mean, he's just, I don't care what you do.
Standing up on top of tables, flying an airplane. Like, the guy is cool. He's so cool for Kentucky, and it's awesome to see. And
Tim, it is on ESPN Thursday night. The Final Four is, and the final game, if they make it, on Sunday night. It's the 21st, I believe. The final game is on ABC.
Yep. So they're going to get a lot of recognition. So
yeah.
Get out to Kansas City, cheer these girls on. Get Big Blue Nation out there. It's a chance for a championship, Brad. I mean, yeah, it's Absolutely. Not basketball, it's not baseball, but these girls have put in a lot of work, and they deserve a crowd. So get out to Kansas City and support these kids.
100%. All right, John, we're going to switch it up to Kentucky basketball. And the Cats got a really big win over the weekend, a much needed win in a renewed rivalry that was very meaningful to a lot of old hat Kentucky fans. So versus Indiana in Rupp Arena. And it wasn't pretty, especially the first half. It wasn't pretty.
No. There was a few boos in there first half, I think, with Aberdeen. There was some mistakes that he made that just caused a lot of fans to kind of get after him a little bit. This game changed when the score was 45-37. Mohamed Diabate came in. Brandon Garrison played a big role in that, and Jalen Lowe played a big role in that.
Yep.
The effort that you saw from Mo Diabate was just absolutely insane. He had 7 of Kentucky's 14 offensive rebounds. He was fiery. His demeanor was different. He had 14 points, 12 rebounds, and I think he had 5 steals. That's a really good night.
Yeah, he had 5 steals.
He changes this team when he's playing at that level.
So here's what I want to say about this game, okay? And my biggest beef so far this year, I know a lot's been said. You haven't heard a lot of negative stuff from me, but my biggest beef so far, before the second half of this Indiana game, was that he wasn't really making any adjustments.
No. Mm-hmm.
He was still trying to run and shoot 43s and kind of stagnant offense. He wasn't changing the lineups as far as like really putting the different ones out there and keeping them out there and finding a lineup that's working. There was so many things that I felt like he was not doing. The thing that I liked the absolute most about this game was in the second half, he shortened up the rotation. He stuck with his guys that got him there, and he won the damn game. And here's my other beef. Before the second half, the last game against Indiana, they had been no hustle. They act like they didn't care. Michigan State, they act like they didn't care in the second half. Gonzaga, I'm not even sure the team showed up, to be honest. They just let them run on by and just didn't care at all. And finally, they showed some heart and some passion.
They did. You know, they held Indiana 21 points after halftime. They dominated the glass, Brad. They turned Indiana over 18 times. It felt like when he shortened the rotation, it felt like a different kind of vibe. You know, you had Owe, he stayed on the floor. He was going after the basket. Diabate, I feel like he was trying to play wrestling with Indiana. Like he was beating and banging in the post.
He was all over the glass. I mean, just all over the glass.
And you had Jalen Lowe. I think he changed the tempo, the way they do things at the point guard position, like a threat downhill that they missed. Garrison, because I feel like he finished plays inside. He fixed the issues on the rim.
Do you remember in the second half, early in the second half, okay, Kentucky was, I don't know, people don't remember this, but Kentucky was down 8 with 16 minutes and 16 seconds to go in the second half. They were down 45-37. But wait a second, John. There's one thing that I want to mention here. Do you remember Charles Barkley on the call? Do you remember him saying, there you go, if you're not making shots, just throw it up inside and go get the rebound? Do you remember him saying that? Because Barkley said that early in the second half when Mo first came in, and from that point forward, the game changed because we only shot 6 3-pointers in the second half, John. 6. And we hit 2 of them. And we hit 2 of them. That's 33%. That's way better than what they've been doing, shooting 3 for 15 and a half. I mean, you don't score too many points hitting 3 3-pointers.
And the thing too, Kentucky took a 7-point deficit to halftime. Most of the time this year, that's where they've given up. They could have, just kind of been like, hey, you know what? We're just going to let this happen and see what happens. Well, they went into the locker room. They figured things out. They went on a big run. I think there was 14 minutes to go. Kentucky was down 7.
And he stayed with it. He stayed with the guys that was working.
If this is the team the fans see going forward, then I can get with it. If you kind of go back to the Gonzaga group, it's going to be a lot.
No. Oh, yeah. But here's the deal. I'm not saying that Colin Chandler doesn't play anymore. I'm not saying that Trent Noah doesn't play anymore. I'm not saying that Aberdeen's going to look pitiful like he did every game going forward. That's not what I'm saying here, guys. So don't misstrew my words. What I am saying is this. It's fine to play your guys that you think is going to help you in the first 8, 12, 16 minutes of a game and fill them out and see if it's their night, if it's not, if playing them is working, if they're getting beat on defense, if they're turning the ball over a lot, if they're missing shot after shot and throwing it up. I mean, you've got to make if you see this, you've got to make adjustments and be like, okay, maybe tonight is not your night. Next time, it might be Mo Diabate. Next time, it might be Owe. It might be Jalen Lowe. I don't know who it will be.
I'm going to tell you something that I kind of noticed with this team. They're not uberly talented. Like they're not Arizona, Alabama. But with the way that they played Saturday, that's how they're going to have to win games.
They're going to have to win games by hustling, playing defense,
playing ugly basketball at times,
and rebounding the damn basketball.
Yeah, it's going to be a different kind of group than you had a year ago. You're not going to have the shooters. You're not going to have the guys that are, hitting threes. You're going to have to win games ugly.
Listen, this team is not going to shoot 50% from the 3-point line. They're not going to do it, guys.
It's not.
They're hard pressed to shoot 50% on layups.
Do you want to know what I think helped them, though, win this game? They put a blanket on the Indiana offense.
They did.
They smothered them. What's the guy's name that was supposed to come to Kentucky and he went to Indiana?
Wilkerson.
He had 14, but he didn't play great. He didn't.
Well, he had 12 at halftime, but he picked up a fourth foul with about 16, 17 minutes to go.
Yeah, it hurt him a little bit. So,
yeah,
smothering them on defense, and I think Indiana got away from what they was doing.
You've got to crash the board. When you're missing a million shots, you got to crash the boards. And I'm going to tell you a little secret. You can't be out there shooting all them threes and the ball bouncing off 15 feet from the basket and get a bunch of rebounds. You've got to shoot the ball on the inside 12, 15 feet a lot and then go get the damn rebound.
You want to know what I think hurt Indiana Saturday?
Well, they didn't hit a lot of shots, but I think Kentucky had a lot to do with that.
That had something to do with it, but here's where I felt like that they did not play great. They was too passive with the basketball on offense. Nobody wanted to get a shot. It felt like they was trying to force everything. It felt like the Kentucky version of the first half. Like nobody wanted to take the, now I'll be honest with you, DeFreeze was probably the only one that actually was trying to do something. Because if you could tell in this second half, there was a couple times where they had open shots, and instead of shooting those, they was trying to drive to the hoop and try to make shots, and they missed a couple layups, and Kentucky blocked a few shots. I know Cam Williams had a block late in the game. They tried to do too much and be passive on offense. And I'm going to be honest with you, everybody, this Indiana team is not great. We didn't beat a great Indiana.
Stellar. They're not stellar. No. But neither was North Carolina.
But kind of getting a little momentum as you go into this game with St. John's and conference play coming up, that's certainly a lot of hope. And it's a long season, like Pope has said. And now we got a little news today, Brad. JQ might be getting back.
Yeah, I mean, that's part of what I want to bring up here is about getting healthy. We are going to get to the JQ stuff, but I mean, Jalen Lowe being out there in the second half and Mo Diabate changed the course of the game. And if we do get a limited amount of minutes JQ going forward for the next month, because he's not going to come in and play 25, 30 minutes a game right off the bat. Right. If we do get a limited amount of JQ over the next month, my question to you is if they play the right way, I think we can see a different team here with a healthy squad.
Yeah, I think he makes a difference, Brad. He's very disruptive in the paint. As a freshman at Arizona State last year, I felt like he was one of the best defenders in the country. His block rate was really high. He was fifth nationally among players from high major programs. He's got a very big skill set, Brad. He's trying to catch up and get healthy, which is going to be a learning curve. The first couple of games, trying to get back in that process. He was one of the top shot blockers last year. He's very physical. That's a crazy thought that you bring him in here and you have Mo Diabate playing like he is. It's hopeful, Brad. It's hopeful.
You got to play from the inside out. You can't put up 35, 40 3-pointers a game. You've got to play going to get the ball, hustle, rebound, like scrappy, gritty. Owe likes playing that way. Mo Diabate likes playing that way. JQ's going to like playing that way.
Here's the issue that fans are going to have to understand. Quaintance is very good with his athleticism, his instincts. he's a highlight reel, Brad.
And he plays with power.
He's somewhat limited offensively, but he's a guy that other defenses will have to watch.
12 feet and in, he's a beast.
He's very talented, Brad. He's going to have his bad moments. He's going to have some good moments, especially coming off an injury. There's a lot of expectation on this guy, but there's a lot of expectations on this whole team.
I mean, he's going to have some time to get back out there, a few games to get back in the routine. He's not in running shape, I'm sure of it, not basketball shape.
Now it's going to take him time to kind of figure it out. And tonight Pope said that there's hours, days,
and not weeks or months.
And not weeks or months. So I'm guessing he's going to play against St. John's, if I had to guess.
Well, that's a guess. I think it's a good guess. I do believe that Pope would like to see him play a game or two before the SEC season starts.
I will say this.
There's only two left.
St. John's, it's probably going to be Bellarmine.
Yeah. So we do get St. John's. This game is in Atlanta. It's part of the CBS Classic. And I'm going to be honest with you, John. From the time this was mentioned, I'm still not all that fond of St. John's being in this game and being part of the CBS Classic. The CBS Classic was supposed to be about big-time programs. I'm sorry, St. John's is not. I know the reason for it. It is going to be a fun, good game. I get it. So with that said, I'm just putting it out there for myself. The pupil versus the master. I got that on here. It's going to be a fun game just for that.
Yeah. It's an opportunity to kind of have a new look in the CBS Sports Classic with St. John's there. You got Mark Pope.
I'm just not into it for the CBS Sports Classic. St. John shouldn't be there. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, it's not your normal team.
You want to play this game, and you want to line it up and put it on your, neutral calendar, your calendar and whatever, and agree to it. But to sneak them in as part of the CBS Sports Classic, I'm just not too.
Well, this has kind of been brewing for a while. You had Patino and Pope trying to figure out how to play each other.
They snuck them in. They found a way to probably pay somebody out. They probably paid a shit ton of money to buy somebody out here. Hint, hint. I'm just throwing some smoke out.
Well, the team that got replaced was UCLA.
I'm just throwing some smoke out. That would be my guess.
So,
and I'm just not thrilled about it, to be quite honest with you.
Well, and you got to look at it. Everybody's talking about Kentucky and their $22 million roster. Well, St. John's had the number one transfer portal class, and they've not played really well. They've had some down games this year, Brad. So
I have no problem with them playing each other and doing a home and home or doing neutral sites, both places, whatever, and coming to an agreement and doing it the normal right way. I have no problem with it. I just don't. What I don't like is the way it happened, the way it was set up. I think it smells funny. If you want to know what I think,
I agree.
But talking about the game itself on Saturday, John, St. John's has not been fantastic. Maybe a smidget better than what Kentucky has looked. This game is in Atlanta, and it is a primetime game here, and everybody's going to be watching. What do you think we will see in this game? Did Kentucky find something and have something for Rick Pitino, or is Pitino just going to throw the hammer down on Pope?
Well, you look at last year, They tied the program record with 31 wins, Brad, in his second year. They got a 2 seed in the tournament. Pope had the kind of the same kind of issue. They went to Sweet 16. So it's 2 really big building blocks of programs playing each other. And it's kind of a neat experience, I think, getting to play the former coach and, the former pupil. To me, though, I feel like if you lose this game, though, there's going to be a lot of heat.
It's a dangerous game to play. And, John, if you remember when they announced this game, everybody's going nuts. The day they announced it, I told John, I don't like it. It's going to set him up to, if he doesn't get this, it's going to set him up for failure. I don't like the game. I don't like the way they done it. I really don't. I am looking forward to the game. I don't mind them playing each other. And in this game, John, I want to say this. St. John's has been just as active in the portal as Kentucky has been.
Okay.
Not just this year, last year as well. I think, isn't Bryce Hopkins there?
Yep. Him and
so Bryce Hopkins is playing a second time. He played against Kentucky in in March Madness, and Kentucky beat them. That was actually Cal's last win in the NCAA tournament.
They actually got former North Carolina Ian Jackson too.
Yeah.
They got some, and they got the big man in the middle, Ruby Egafor. I think that's how you say it. I can't pronounce his name. Don't want to butcher it, but the big man in the middle for St. John's.
Yeah, I'm not sure how to pronounce it, to be honest. I'm not a big name pronouncer like that.
Zuby Ejiofor, I think that's how you pronounce it. But anyways, he's a big plus in the paint. He's a forward. Ian Jackson is really good. Bryce Hopkins. They got Dylan Mitchell from Cincinnati. Snow from
they've got talent, but now it's all bought talent brought in there through the portal. So, what I'm saying is they've been just as hot in the portal as Kentucky has been, and Mark Pope.
Yeah. So it's going to be kind of a different kind of atmosphere. I feel like it's going to be more electric than you would with a UCLA or North Carolina. There's going to be a lot of Pitino fans that love him when he was at Kentucky. There's going to be a lot of Kentucky fans that love Pope. I feel like there's going to be a lot of electricity in the building when this game tips off. Personally,
I think Mick Cronin was scared. That's what I think.
Thanks, Jonathan.
Yeah, man, I appreciate it. And Tim, I would love to see us play with a double post and play that way with Mo and even Yelovich and
why he didn't. And everybody's wondering why he didn't play the other night. I've had a lot of people message me. The rotations that was happening at the time, he felt like he had to go with
what was working.
And Yelovich didn't play, so
that's the reason why Jasper Johnson didn't play much in this. I don't think he played at all in the second half.
I'll be honest with you, Brad. If this continues, wouldn't be shocked if some guys don't get no playing time.
Listen, you got to play with what works. After the game, Pope said, "Our job here is to win. It's not to get somebody minutes and to do things like we got to win. That's what you got to do. That's their job, is to win. And it don't matter who's playing and how many minutes somebody got and how many shots you got. None of that crap matters.
I made a comment the other day. I said, you could have Jamal Mashburn out there, but if he ain't playing great and he's sitting on the bench, then that's what sometimes you have to do. And at the end of the day, you roll with what you do. Which, granted, Jamal Mashburn probably wouldn't be sitting on the bench. He would be playing. But I'm just saying, if he wasn't playing great, sometimes you have to sit great players to prove them a point. Like Brandon Garrison the other night. He comes out with his hair on fire. and just starts playing ball. And did you see him in that one play where he just ripped the ball away from that guy and just held it in his hand? Like, get off of me. Like, where has that fire been all season? It's not been
well,
Gonzaga
I
game.
think that fire was introduced after halftime when Mo Diabate came into the game.
It was.
He's the one that brought it. And then it was
Diabate, and everybody says, well, he goes off and on. Well, go back and watch some of his games against Alabama last year. Well, he was the biggest hustler on that team.
If we have a healthy Mo Diabate, we do not lose North Carolina game at home by 3.
No, you're probably winning that game by probably at least 5 or 6.
We don't lose that game. I'm just telling you. There's no way. All right, John, I am going to move on from the men to the women's teams here with the girls team. And yesterday I took that picture in Nashville, Tennessee at Belmont University. And I thought it was a really cool pic. And we're going to talk a little bit about the Kentucky women here, John. I want to start out with this. So yesterday, the Kentucky women actually tied a school record. For the second year in a row. Both years under Kenny is part of the tie. There's like 8 or 9 seasons that are tied with the best start ever for Kentucky women's basketball being 11-1.
Impressive.
And Kenny's done it twice, 2 years in a row.
Yes. Now, I'll say this, Brad. They improved to 11-1, but this game was not comfortable. You had a really good Belmont team. They kept it interesting pretty much all night.
Well, I was there. I was actually courtside. This is where I was sitting. I took this picture. I thought it was really cool. But, this Belmont team, John, is really scrappy. They have some good talent. They have a couple of good guards. They have a big girl that's about 6'3" or 4 that can bang down low. And they actually had a player or two that was out injured as well. So it might have been a different story if they were playing, to be honest.
Well, and you kind of brought up a good point with when you said that you hope Amia Hassett would kind of step up. She had 10 rebounds.
She had 19 and 10 rebounds, yes.
Had 18, 8 boards. Tony Morgan played good. Neither team really shot the ball that great.
Jordan Obi had a really good first half and then was completely quiet in the second.
You know where I think Kentucky really won this game was where they dominated the boards. I think it was like 20. They dominated by 20. Now, I'll say this, Brad. This would have been a better opponent. They probably lost. A win is a win, though. They're 11-1. They get Wright State coming up December 19th, Friday. But, I just don't know where this team is right now.
I'll be honest with you, John. I've been covering this team for 3 years, okay? And I've been going to games for 3.5. I've been covering this team for 3 years specifically. If I'm comparing this year and last year at this time, like right before SEC season started, I felt like the girls, like Georgia Amore was on a roll. Deja Lawrence was playing really well. Amelia Hassett had looked and played really good and had a run that was playing good. Tiani Key was playing really good. When I look at this team, I know they're 11-1. I know they beat Louisville on the road. I know they beat Miami on the road. They're actually 5-0 on the road here. They played 5 true road games, more than anybody in the country. But here's what I want to say, and this is kind of a hot take, okay? Consistently, I don't think anybody on this team so far has played great consistently, and I'm including Clara Strack. She had 18 and 8 yesterday, but she had to take 21 shots to get 18 points. And she was missing a lot. She shot 8 of 21. She had a couple of good spurts. She scored 8 points right after halftime in 2.5 minutes and looked really good doing it. And then all of a sudden, again, she can't hit nothing. And she barely scores the rest of the way. And Amelia Hassett, she before yesterday, she had 2 games under 10 points. Tayani Key has had a couple of 17-point games and stuff, but she hasn't been nearly as big or consistent as she was last year. Jordan Obi has had some good moments and some good games, but I feel like Deja Lawrence was more consistent last year.
So with that being said, are you concerned with the shooting in SEC play?
I am a little bit. Right this minute, I am a little concerned about this team. I know they're sitting in the same spot, and they actually have 2 more home games before SEC plays, so maybe they can work out. And these games are against Wright State, and they play on the 28th. It's a small Hofstra, I think.
Hofstra, yeah.
Yeah. So it's games that they should win. They should break this record that I was just talking about. They should be 13-1 here 13-1 here pretty soon and break this record that I was just talking about. I just don't feel like, John, so far, Tony Morgan has had 2 or 3 really good-looking games. But then she's had 2 or 3. The Maryland game, yesterday she had 6 turnovers. The Maryland game, she had 8 turnovers. Like, she scored it.
You know what looks good, though, on their resume right now? Louisville knocked off North Carolina.
They did yesterday. That was a big win.
That's actually looking good for Kentucky. And, Kentucky moved up to 12 in the AP poll, which is pretty awesome, this early in the year. But like I said, there's still some inconsistencies that kind of need to be kind of straightened out before conference play. And I think they get this opportunity, with Wright State coming up on Friday, and then they play Hofstra the 28th. So
yeah, they do get 2 more games here to try to straighten things out. Real quick, I want to point this out. This is Ty Bryant's mother, and I just want to give you a shout out. Listen, I love covering women's sports. I've been doing this all my life. My sisters played ball. I grew up in a gym watching women's sports, to be honest with you. I have a sister that was the all-time leading scorer at her high school when her career ended. And I grew up in a gym. She was 4 years older than me, and I grew up in a gym playing ball against girls, to be honest with you. I was like, when she was in 8th grade, I was like a 4th grader playing against 8th graders, which was kind of fair. I was 4 years younger than they were. I was still a little kid. And I'll
say this on top of what you was saying with her. It kind of rolls around in my family too, with my baby cousin Timberly. She played at Knox Central. Then you have the 2 twins that are playing ball now. They play JV and they play varsity for Corbin High School. So I got a lot of, when Tabby played, her mom played. She was probably one of the top 3-point shooters in the high school ranks in Kentucky back in the early 2000s, around that time. So I've been around a lot of girls basketball myself. So it's a lot of people sometimes forget how great the game of basketball is in college when it comes to the women's game.
I love it. I love covering it. I appreciate you saying that, Terry. I really do. But I do want to point out that this is Ty Bryant's mother, and John talks with her a little bit. She is a fan of the show. We just appreciate her being here. Ty Bryant is a legacy recruit.
We're actually getting ready to talk football next, so if you want to stick around.
Yeah, stick around. You heard it here first, and this is not 100% true, okay? This did not come from Terry Mims Bryant. This did not come from her, okay? But I believe Ty Bryant will be back next year.
Yeah, I'm 100% on that. I think, his senior year, he's got an opportunity to play under a good coaching staff. I just think there's too many variables there. So
I just want to throw that out, and I hope she don't get angry with that, because that is not to do with her, okay? Do not go out and say that I said that she said that, because I promise you I will make sure that everybody knows that that's not how that went down. That's my take.
That's been mine the whole time.
He's a Kentucky legacy kid. His dad played at UK. So, I mean, that's just my take on it, to be honest with you. All right, before we move on to the football, John, Kentucky girls today, the women moved up 3 spots in the AP poll. They are now number 12, sitting at 11-1. They are number 7 in the net rankings. And they have just, they have climbed and climbed and climbed all season long in the polls and the rankings here. And I think Kentucky's in a good spot here before they got those 2 games, John. And then the first game after the new year is at LSU.
It's tough, man. Like, SEC is really, really hard. And that's not just women, that's men. It's tough. You got LSU, South Carolina, Tennessee's playing really well. Arkansas has improved. Ole Miss, Coach O and her transfer portal class, they're playing as good as anybody. Brad, this is going to be a tough season for all teams involved.
All right. Derby City Dynamite. I will have to try to remember that, Terry.
It's the only women's tackle football team in Kentucky.
I see that.
The only pro team to bring a national championship to Kentucky. That's pretty neat.
I see that. I would definitely try to remember that and look that up.
And Terry said Texas is best women's team next to NCAA. Yeah, Madison Booker, Oldacre, Roy Harmon, like, you can go down the line. That Texas team is just so loaded with talent.
They're Coach playing Schaefer, really good.
Coach Schaefer
I cannot argue with that point right now. They're playing really well. So I think they have the best resume right this minute.
I'll be honest with you, Brad. Coach Schaefer might be one of the best coaches in America, not just the SEC. He knows
in any sport.
He knows how to get it done.
Schaefer, I've met the guy, okay? I'm telling you, he's excellent. I've talked to the guy. I've asked him questions.
She meant UConn, not NCAA. She meant UConn.
All right, I got you.
Which I was kind of surprised that UConn whipped USC like they did, but
I actually think Texas might be best. They actually have the best resume, to be honest, so far. But Kentucky women, I hope they find a little bit more consistency and rhythm over the next couple of games, because LSU in Baton Rouge is going to be no joke. That team is loaded with talent. John knows I have talked about Malaysia Fawiley and Flau'jae Johnson for 3 years. This is the 3rd year. And that don't even count Michaela Williams, and it don't count Kate Novak and Johnson, Zakiya Johnson from right here from Louisville. They're loaded. The team is loaded. Appreciate that, Terry. Thank you for being with us.
Are you ready for football now?
Yep. Let's talk some football, John. There's a lot to be happy about, a lot to be excited about here in the off season. I'm trying to get something to come up, and I'm having to click it like 3 times because it's really slow. Is it slow on your end tonight?
Yeah, it has been a little bit.
Like, it really is slow. I'll click something and all right, John, let's get started with football. Let's get to some football topics. There's been a rash of hirings by Will Stein lately. I do have all of them's name up here, John, and I want to give them a little bit of love here. We've got an offensive line coach that coached with Will Stein for 3 years, Cutter Leftwich from Oregon.
Yep.
We got a guy here from Ohio State that's listed here. And then we got 2 position coach guys from Houston and from UTSA.
Yeah, Leftwich, he was part of the Ducks offensive line coaching that they become finalists for the Joe Moore Award for the 3rd straight year.
Yeah.
And like you said, he's moving on with the Wildcats. You got the Oregon director of recruiting, Pat Biondo. I think that's how you pronounce it. He's going to be the first general manager in the Kentucky program. He's expanding his tree, Brad. You got, like you said, Washington coming from Ohio State.
He also was at Oregon a year. He was at Oregon a year, at least 1 year, and coached with Will Stein there at Oregon. So he's been at Oregon and Ohio State. The Joe Price guy has been at UTSA, and he coached with Will Stein when Will Stein was at UTSA. And he's got major connections in the city of Houston as a former high school coach.
Yeah.
With recruiting.
He spent 1 season, Price did, as director of high school relations at Illinois. He was a high school assistant in Texas. Price and Steins, I think they spent 3 years with each other at UTSA. He was a wide receiver coach while Stein was offensive coordinator. Washington played for Oregon. And if people don't remember, go back and watch.
He scored a defensive touchdown against Florida State.
The Rose Bowl on Jameis Winston fumble. Yeah. So if everybody wants to go back and see who you're getting, and they finally officially announced on Monday, Joe Sloan was officially announced as the offensive coordinator, which is a big plus.
That's my next topic.
Got the 4-star from LSU because of him, Kenny Darby, which is going to be a big plus in the wide receiver room. I do
want to ask you about Josh Christian Young. He's from Houston, and he coached with Jay Bateman at Army. So there is some so the rest of these guys have coached with Will Stein, and the Josh Christian Young guy coached with Jay Bateman, who's going to be the DC. He's not official. Sloan is official after today, but Bateman is supposed to be coming as the DC, and what looks like he's coming as the DC defensive coordinator. So I want to ask you about Josh Christian Young. He's got some ties with Bateman. What do you think about that hire? And John maybe froze up. I think he froze up on me. All right. So Josh Christian Young, like I said, he coached with Jay Bateman at Army he was there from 15 to 19. Bateman left after 18, but they had some top defenses there. He had a top defense in Houston this year. That's where he was. Houston went 9-3 this past season or this season. And, there's going to be some familiarity with the defensive side of the ball there. He's likely going to be the defensive back or safeties coach, I believe, more than likely here. Josh Christian Young will be. So I'm not sure what happened with John here. He may try to get back on. His computer may have died, or I'm not exactly sure what happened. But we'll get him back here in just a few minutes. So Stein did officially hire Joe Sloan today, the former LSU offensive coordinator. He was the quarterback coach for a guy by the name of, I don't know, Jaden Daniels. Maybe you guys have heard of him. There was the Heisman Trophy winner a couple of years ago. Was the offensive player of the year as a rookie, I believe, in the NFL or something like that last year. And started his career out really well. Had some injuries issues this year, and Washington hasn't done as well. But man, if he can do that, and the recruiting ties, so all of this I've been told that they are really setting up recruiting for Louisiana and Texas. They plan on hitting Florida hard as well. Florida, Georgia, maybe even some of the Carolinas. I believe North Carolina and in the D.C. area, the DMV area, the Josh Christian Young and the Bateman will have really good ties there. So, that's something good to see. Yep, the Commanders quarterback. Yep, that's who I'm talking about, Jaden Daniels. Sloan has some really good ties in Louisiana and Texas. I think those are going to be some major areas that this new staff and Coach Will Stein and the staff that he's putting together is going to hit. I think you're going to see from the DMV, from D.C., from the Carolinas to Georgia, Florida, Louisiana, Texas. Of course, they're going to try to get to Kentucky and this area, maybe Tennessee as well, and this area, and hit it as well, hit it hard in recruiting. But I think that's what you're going to see. Sloan had some top offenses. I mean, Jaden Daniels had one of the top offenses in the country. I think they were number 2 in the country last season, before the fall off with Nussmeier this year. Last year, he was still right up there. I think they were number 2 in the SEC, number 7 in the country, I believe, last year. And that was with Garrett Nussmeier. So, I mean, pretty darn good, if you ask me, here with Joe Sloan. And he's only 39 years old. Stein is 36. This Joe Price guy is really young. I have not looked at his age. I think that Josh Christian Young is 52. Bateman is around that. But this is going to be a younger staff, it looks like, energetic and well-trained at high-class schools. By the way, you've got Oregon connections here. You've got Ohio State connections here. You've got Texas A&M connections here. You've got Houston, Texas, Texas connections here. I mean, these are some high-class areas and programs that is coming to take over control of Kentucky football. So it is looking really, really good for Kentucky football, just to be honest with you. Some announced transfers out. I do want to get to a few. Stone Saunders was a quarterback that was brought in, redshirted this year. He'll have 4 years left in eligibility. He has announced that he's transferring out. Steven Souls, linebacker, edge linebacker, does hurt a little bit. I do think he's undersized for the SEC. He would be a good one to bring in on third down. I just don't really believe that. I think he's a little undersized, and on first and second down, when you're playing against a team that is running nothing but downhill and driving you back, I think Souls can have a little bit of problem. So I just want to put that out there. There's going to be a bunch more that put their name in the portal here. I want to warn everybody, you will not see I think you will see some turnover. I'm going to guess that we're going to see some turnover. I do think that we won't see quite as much as what I thought we would see. And I'm going to say that because of the hire and the staff and the smoke that's out there, the excitement from the smoke that's out there from these high class tier programs. I think it's pretty exciting. I think a lot of these kids are going to want to play in this kind of offense. And even the defensive side of the ball, they're hiring people that are running top-notch defenses in the country. So aggressive, looks like what might be aggressive defenses that blitz a lot. So I think players are going to want to play in this kind of system with some young coaches, to be quite honest with you. That being said, that brings up the portal targets. I mean, DJ Lagway was in there today. I have heard some rumors that the Kentucky may get involved with him. There's an offensive lineman that is from Arizona State that I think they should get involved with. And there's so many names. Dylan Raiola put his name in today. And I'm going to tell you guys, that's the kind of quarterback that a Will Stein could work with. I don't think that we will get him. I believe that he will go somewhere else. Oregon is already on the trail. I'm sure that's not Will Stein with Oregon. That's probably Dan Lanning with Oregon. But he's going to be highly, highly targeted by a lot of teams, to be quite honest with you. All right. I am going to wrap this up with one more topic here with football. It's very exciting. The college football playoff is Friday night. Alabama and Oklahoma kick it off. It's going to be a fun game. But if you're a Kentucky fan, I want to give you a few things to pay attention to in the college football playoffs. Texas A&M, their defensive coordinator is coming to Kentucky. That style of play will be fun to watch. And see what they do, because they come after you. They come after the quarterback. As a Kentucky fan, it'll be pretty interesting. Tony Washington Jr. is on the staff with Ohio State. Ohio State has got one of the best teams in the country and has a chance to win a title. And then, of course, you've got Will Stein to pay attention to, that is now the offensive, that is, still the offensive coordinator at Oregon. And, they're playing James Madison. That's going to be a fun one. They would match up with Texas Tech in the quarterfinals if they get there, which would be a really fun, interesting game, because Texas Tech has one of the best defenses in the country. And if you are a Kentucky fan, I think there's a lot of things to keep your eye on and to pay attention to in this college football playoff. It's an exciting time for Kentucky. Kroger Field is behind me here as we're talking. we're hoping to fill up the stadium next year and to get some wins on a tough schedule. I mean, it won't be easy in the first year, but Will has said he's coming in here to win. So we'll see what kind of talent he brings in out of the portal. I believe they will get some guys. I believe they'll get some guys, and I believe that we will compete. I don't know that we're going to go 10-2 next year, but I believe we'll compete, win some games, maybe still a game or two, and go 7 or 8 wins. Here's John. What's up, John?
Yeah, I'm back, man. I don't know what happened a minute ago. But anyways, like you said, there's going to be a lot of names hit this portal. You got DJ Lagway, Dylan Riola. The quarterback market is going to be really hot this offseason. There's going to be a lot of quarterbacks. Aiden Childs from Michigan State is going to be one. There's going to be a lot of top-notch programs in on a lot of these players.
See if Stein is really after one, or if Boley's going to be the guy, if Boley stays.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting the next couple of weeks, I think. You got LSU going to be after a lot of guys. Auburn's going to be in the mix. I think Kentucky is going to be there. I think they're just going to have their, pick the right pieces. I do think there had been talk, I think earlier I think it was early December, maybe November, that there had been talk that Kentucky was kind of going to be a spot for Boo Carter from Tennessee. I don't know if you had heard that or not, but there was some kind of jive that he might be a name to watch in the portal.
I had heard C.J. Baxter from Tennessee or from Texas might be.
Nick Marsh would be another one from Michigan State. The thing about Marsh is he fits what Stein wants to do. He's a big receiver. He can get after the ball. The transfer portal is going to be open while this college football playoff is underway, Brad. It's another issue in this calendar that raises a lot of concerns, and coaches who are preparing.
It actually opens January 2nd.
And the thing is, you got teams chasing the championship, and you're trying to look ahead to next year too.
Yeah, but all these teams that are in the playoffs, once they are eliminated, they get 5 extra days.
Yeah, and you're going to – once some of these teams get eliminated, you're going to see players from that team drop. You're going to see guys kind of put their name in the portal and so forth. So I want to say this before we get off. I know everybody's kind of interested about the whole Lagway situation. Lagway had 16 touchdown passes last year. He had 14 interceptions, okay? There's no doubting that there's talent there. But Lagway and Rayola have been the type of quarterbacks that, they haven't lived up to what they was,
I would rather have Rayola. Rayola is at least a pocket passer, which is what I believe Will Stein would like to have.
Yeah, but you're going to have to throw money at Rayola to kind of get him here. It's not going to be – and then you got – I think Brendan Sorsby.
Even despite the money, he's probably not coming to Kentucky.
Well, and Sorsby's another name to kind of look at because he's from Cincinnati. He's going to get a big bag. There's a lot to happen in the next 2 or 3 weeks. You get the college football playoff. They start this week. So a lot of things to happen between now and January. So
we'll have a lot to talk about. That's for sure. Guys, watch volleyball Thursday night, ESPN. Kentucky plays in the national semifinal game versus Wisconsin. They have a shot to bring home a title from Kansas City this weekend. So please check them out. Watch them. The girls play Friday night, and
we'll be back Wednesday to do the Pick'em show and do a little bit of the Big Fuss. So we'll do the Oklahoma-Alabama game.
Yep, they play Friday night, and then we got 3 big games on Saturday to cover and talk about.
Ain't there one Thursday?
Not college football.
It's Friday. It's Alabama and
Oklahoma. It's Friday and Saturday.
Saturday. There's 3 games on Saturday. There's Miami A&M, Tulane, Mississippi, Ole Miss, and James Madison, Oregon. That's a game for Kentucky fans to kind of keep an eye on.
Yep.
And you know what's crazy is Will Stein, their offense is ranked high in the country, but people don't know that James Madison is ranked really high on defense. They're one of the top defensive teams in the country. So it'd be kind of neat to see what Will Stein does to counteract that and see what Kentucky will be getting as a coach.
It will be. That's for sure. Can't wait to watch. It's going to be a fun week here to watch sports, to watch college sports, to watch Kentucky and the college football playoff and some Kentucky opportunities down the road, I guess you could say.
Yeah. And I will have an article tomorrow. It's not tonight. I'm not going to write tonight, but I will have an article out about Rick Pitino and Mark Pope. I know
I've got one that will be coming out about the volleyball, so just look for that. So
teacher and pupil. I mean, it's a big deal this week, Brad. I mean, everybody says it's not, but it is. It's a big deal.
It is.
It's a big deal.
All right, guys, it's been fun. This has been Wildcat Weekly. We are on week 17 here of season 4. We hope you appreciate and have enjoyed Wildcat Weekly, and we will see you guys on Wednesday night for our Big Plus game day combo.
Brad needs better connection.
I don't know, man.
I'm giving you hate, man.
All right.
We'll see you,
guys.
See you, man.